Hi and welcome to this video blog with me, Wayne, from swimmingcyclingrunning.com. Well, we've seen now the Olympic triathlons for 2012 and they were fantastic races. Alistair Brownlee clearly ran away from the field, and that's the way he likes to win races. And to finish a triathlon with a 29-minute run is a simply phenomenal performance. The crowd must have G'd them on, but it still was a phenomenal performance. In the women's race, we weren't so lucky. Apparently Helen Jenkins had some injury coming into the race and hadn't been able to train properly for a few weeks. Now that brings up the question of the whole Domestique system. The Domestique system says that we have two people, or one person working for two, or two people working for one. And in the women's race it was Lucy Hall and Vicky Holland working for Helen Jenkins. Now with Helen Jenkins injured and not able to be 100% fit, effectively we had no plan B. We still had to go with Helen Jenkins, and Helen Jenkins had to give it her best. There was no one else. There was nothing we could do to rectify that, because Lucy Hall and Vicky Holland were never going to podium at the Olympics. But even then, I think they got the tactics wrong in the race itself. What we saw was Lucy Hall driving ahead on the swim, which she was bound to do. She's very strong. But there was no way, obviously, of Lucy Hall knowing that Helen Jenkins was either on her feet or not on her feet. And she was there to protect Helen Jenkins. And I would suggest that if Lucy Hall had been in a bright coloured in a bright coloured wetsuit, and she had been told that Helen Jenkins will come up to you and she will tap you 3 times in quick succession, and then you will know she's on your feet. That could easily have been done, and once she was on her feet, then she could have driven for the front, then she could have taken Helen Jenkins away from the rest and protected her. But as it was, she took 6 athletes away with 2 close behind them, and they were free at the front of the pack. Now Helen Jenkins then had to chase on to get back to that pack, even though Lucy Hall was doing no work. The people at the front weren't particularly worried about Lucy Hall, because Lucy Hall can't run. Now when the second pack joined the front pack, Lucy Hall worked as a reasonably good domestique. She was chasing down things that were going. However, what it did mean was that no one in that pack, apart from Lucy Hall and 1 or 2 others, actually had to do any work. So Nicholas Spirig, etc., didn't have to work. And the same thing happened in the men's race to a certain extent. So I think the domestic system really didn't work, especially once Vicky Holland had fallen and was actually in the second group on the road. That actually clearly meant she was out of the running and couldn't help Helen at all. The fact that Helen was ill and came in 5th is creditable to her. If she hadn't been training, she couldn't be at 100%. So it didn't really work in the women's race. But what about the men's race? Did the Brownies really need a domestique? Would it have been better to have someone who was reasonably competitive, like Will Clark, who probably would have been the natural choice? Well, Stuart Hayes did a phenomenal job once he got to the chance of doing it. But when you looked at it, the Brownies were ahead of him in the swim. They came out 4th and 6th, and he came out 8th. Now, although 8th is creditable, he didn't make the front pack. The front pack then drove away. Gomez and the 2 Brownies were in that group, and they tried to stay away. They were away for 2 laps, so they're working really hard to stay away. Now, if they actually wanted a domestique, if they wanted a domestique situation, they could have easily said, right, we'll take our lead and we'll just slowly but surely come back to the pack. They didn't do that. They tried to drive and stay away. Then, when they joined the pack, again, they could have, like Hunter Kempner, Frodeno, the Italians, the French, and the Russian, Brushenkov, they all did nothing whatsoever on the bike. Did the Brownies do nothing? No. They were still at the front, driving and actually taking their turn. And Alistair at one point even tried to break away once again. Now that's all hard work. If you're going to have a domestique, the whole point is that either you don't have to do hard work, or they go down the road to make other people do hard work, or you really do smack the bike and the domestique is pointless. When Stuart Hayes did his job, he was phenomenally good, especially coming into transition. He protected the brownies incredibly well. My point there is they proved in this race that they really didn't need protecting. So I think British Triathlon have to rethink their system. They have to rethink whether it really is worth having a domestique system when it's an individual race. So that's this week's blog. Open for you to video blog reply or just comment, that would be good. Remember, you can subscribe to the channel if you want to see more videos when we put them up. Next week we're going to start looking at the Olympic swimming and see if there's any stroke mechanics that we can look at that will give us hints and tips to good stroke mechanics for you as you swim triathlon. Alright, have a great week, have a lovely end of the Olympics. I would think the closing ceremony will be absolutely wonderful. I'm certainly looking forward to it. Keep well, see you soon.